think the dream is that him.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
This is right.
Okay, hang on. Let's do like a proper intro.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Saye, who are you?
My name.
Let me get this one question out of the way first of all. Off the top of your head, what's the first number that comes to your mind?
100.
100? How about 10 million? Let's talk about the number 10 million for a second.
Okay, I can see
And
where you're going with this.
You probably
Yeah,
know
yeah,
where
yeah.
I'm going with this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been following you for a while.
Right.
I know what you're up to.
Okay.
Why is the number 10 million so special to you?
Okay, so for me, so I'll tell you why I said 100 first.
Okay, fine.
Because 100% of my effort went into 10 million.
I know, right? That's a bar right there.
Right? So I'll tell you why 10 million's big, because in the business that we're in recruitment business, and I am primarily on the sales side. So my responsibility is to bring in, acquire business and generate revenue for the organization. So bringing in clients that we're getting continued residual revenue from. Now, that being said, when I first started with this organization, I hit in my first year $1 million in revenue. So at that time, it was kind of like it was a big deal. But for me, the biggest focus was to not look at the I guess you can say the numeric value of it, but it was moreover, what else can I do to go above and beyond? So the following year, my goal was to beat last year, but I didn't know what the number was going to be. To be honest, I just wanted to double it. But as time went by, I actually quadrupled it. So the second year, I hit $4 million in revenue for the organization. This was the highest that anyone has ever done in the organization. So this was a big milestone for myself.
It was 10 million, like that mark?
So that was 4 million.
4 million
That
was
was 4
like,
million. That was
okay,
the
so that was a
highest
record
ever.
already.
That was the record already. So
okay.
My thing was I was just breaking records, but to me personally, I was kind of like, this is not the end. There's gonna be more.
That was 2017.
That
right?
was 2017.
Right.
So 2018, so last year, this year was kind of like it went down in the books as like the biggest year ever, and I didn't double it. It was actually I hit the 10 mil mark and a little bit over. And this kind of changed my future as far as, where I wanted to be. Am I going to be that guy that's going to be hitting 10 mil and then, next year, maybe 20 mil? Or did I want to create something brand new for the people around me?
Right.
And that's what opened up this new venture that I'm currently in.
So when you because I'm trying to grasp this, like you single-handedly brought in $10 million of revenue to your company. Like that's like crazy in and of itself. First of all, the commission was probably like, you're probably feeling good about that in the first place.
Sunshine Act, yeah.
But what?
How big were the deal sizes?
The biggest contract that I brought in was about 4.5 mil. That's currently one of our biggest contracts. Yeah.
You flew them on your private jet for that one?
No. They're actually the business is all Canadian based.
Okay, too.
So they export and import across the world, but they were Canadian based.
What's your broad question? What's your secret? Like, how do you like put yourself in a position? Because I think like to hit that mark, like you gotta. Do you break it up by quarters and then you try to figure out like, you have a quarterly goal and then, or was it kind of, it just happened towards the end of the year and then it all just fell into place? Like,
well, first thing I want to go back to what you said, single-handedly. I don't like using that term too much,
fair,
but because we got a monster team, right? Like,
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, as any leader in an organization or even if within sales or whatever it is, you have to have a team backing you up, right? So I got to give kudos to the team that's been with me throughout when I first started, and then how it drastically changed over time. But the core value of the team was still there. But as far as your question, what was it specifically you wanted to know? How did you even, like I'm assuming
Because you said your
What's the
goal.
secret sauce?
Yeah, but like your goal was just to at least double it, right? Like
Yeah,
you didn't
so
even have 10 million
that's a
as
good
like the
question.
final goal.
That's a good question.
And then you went over your double, which I think I want to touch on that point later too, because I think that's like an important thing that people often don't recognize is like just setting a goal in the first place, even if it's arbitrary, like you need that direction to go in. And then that way, at least you know that you're going somewhere. And then to the extent that you actually reach that goal can happen. Like you can't plan that. Like you planned for 8 mil and you ended up with 10 mil like that. You didn't expect that, right?
Yeah.
But like that was your direction.
That's a very good question. The way I would go about it is this is something that I try to pass on to people around me is when money is your goal and that's the only goal that you have, you usually fail, right?
Yeah.
So the reason that I know we're on this topic of 10. The reason that I hit 10 mil wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Even 8 was not on purpose. So my purpose was behind making impactful moves and like changing people, having an impact on people, giving people opportunities because we're in the space of recruitment. So you're giving careers, you're giving new lives to people, right? And that's what's important to me. So my goal wasn't moreover, hey, I want to hit this $1 million mark. It was moreover, I want to hit 1 million people and impact them, right?
Yeah.
So it became more of a let me try to change other people's lives and unconsciously the revenue started coming.
That was
in.
a side effect. Like,
That was a side effect.
Yeah.
So when the side effect is money, you're in the right space. The money should not be the focus, right?
I like that.
And
I
that
like
was
that.
my biggest thing.
Yeah.
In life, right? And since we're on this topic, the biggest problem with people in business that go into invest into business is they invest into what market's going to make the most money. That's
Right.
wrong.
Right. Yeah.
You should invest in a market that you believe in, right? You need to invest in a market that you're passionate about, regardless of if it's killing the stocks or not. Like today I was scrolling through Business Insider and there was a post that Warren Buffett said, he's like, don't dive into stocks just because everybody else is, right? Dive into a stock that you're passionate about, but that may not be a big deal right now for people, right? Like right now, people are like, hey, cannabis is big. Let me jump into cannabis.
Right,
Are you
yeah.
passionate about
Yeah,
cannabis?
exactly. I know a lot of people
You know
like
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah, for
so
sure.
if you are, I mean, kudos to you, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not, then find something that you want to make an impact with, and the cash flow will just come in.
But so here's the big thing. That sounds dope, but I know a lot of people are in a situation where it's like, yo, I don't even know what I'm passionate about. Like, I don't know, what makes me wake up in the morning. And then they just kind of like fall into this routine, right? And then it's like, all right, you know what? This routine is easy, or it's like comfortable, and I feel, it's like the difference between being busy and being productive, right? Like I feel like I'm busy and I like the feeling that, it seems like I'm doing something. But then, yeah, I mean, like when you actually dig into it, it's like, are you really passionate about what you're doing or like what you're investing in?
No, 100%.
Right. So how did you know that's what you were passionate about?
So
like,
it's a mix of two things. One thing is you have to take a risk. And
Yeah.
you probably hear a lot of people that term that you have to take high risk for high reward.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself in a risky situation. You have to make yourself feel uncomfortable. Yes, there's all of that, right? Which is pretty standard. Everyone hears about this, right? But I think the biggest thing is putting yourself in an uncharted territory where you're challenged, right?
Yeah.
And for me, coming out of school, I was originally in design. Like that was my thing.
What do you mean?
I
Like,
went
what
to
kind of
school-
design?
I went to school for graphic design.
okay, cool.
Right? It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. But for me, it was like, hey, you know what? Let me put myself in a situation where it has nothing to do with design, right?
Right.
And that's where I walked into this space, this industry, right? And I think being able to find your passion, it comes sometimes by accident.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like a by accident kind of thing. Like you just stumbled upon something that hey, this might be something for me, right? But the biggest thing is find something that someone relies on you for.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Because
Right,
that's
like-
like your value.
What are you,
Yeah.
why are you reliable? Like, what is something that someone needs or dependent on you for, right? Like, if tomorrow you went missing, right?
Right.
What are people going to be like, oh, shit, now we can't do this anymore because Keith's not around. Or like, we won't have this idea because Keith's that person, right? And you have to find something that you have a key element that someone relies on you for. So when I wake up in the morning every day, the difference of me waking up at 7 a.m. and waking up at 12 p.m. is that when I wake up in the morning, it's like, shit, this person, and this person is relying on me today to get this done.
Damn, that's cool, man. Actually, I agree with that 100%. Because it's like, that goes, you can pretty much just build a skill. If you don't know what you're passionate about, at least like learn a skill.
Exactly.
Right? That's a good place to start, right? Learn a skill that you know is going to be useful now or in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that way in the future, people could, like you're that guy. You're kind of like already on the ball with that. And then when that skill becomes needed, then you're already like a year deep into it, 2 years deep into it.
100%.
And then like, oh shit, this guy, like he's actually pretty good at it. And then your value increases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess like, going back to your other point of like, if you don't know what you're passionate about, like, man, the best way is, like you said, you just got to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And then just, try to just throw yourself into the water. And then, or there's somebody, I forgot, I don't think it's a quote, but it's like you jump off the cliff and you learn how to fly on the way down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, man,
That's exactly what it is.
most people don't want to jump off that cliff.
Yeah.
And I get that. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Like, man, that shit's scary, right?
Yeah.
Like, the cliff is very safe. It's very
Right,
comfortable.
right.
Everybody is on this cliff. Like, you can kind of just chill there. You can build a hut and just like, chill there.
Sure.
And then there's people like kind of looking over the edge like, oh, I wonder what's down there.
Right,
It's
right.
those people that, have have that sense to jump off and see what's down there.
Yeah, and I think you need to be able to really discover yourself, but it's hard to discover yourself when you're so, first of all, segregated, right? You're not putting yourself around people, different types of people.
Okay, true.
And different area codes is very important, right? Like if you're stuck in your own bubble, in your own circle, you might be, like, I was talking to someone the other day and they said, your whole life you can be that high school quarterback, like that high school quarterback where the cheerleaders love you, like the students love you, the teachers love you, everyone loves you. But the second you get out of high school, boy, it's time for college football.
Right.
It's a totally different playing field, right? You're walking into a territory that's uncharted, right? And maybe you might find something that's different about you that you never knew throughout your time. So get outside of your circle, go outside of your bubble, speak to different ethnic backgrounds, touch different skin tones, you know what I mean? And I think if you don't do that, you're gonna be stuck in this hurdle like, hey, what's cool about me? Like, what's different about me?
Yeah.
Because you're so stuck in that little box,
And like what's cool about you might not, like the people that you currently surround yourself with, it might not be cool to them, right?
Right.
And then that's the point. Like you go somewhere else and it's like, or you're just like depressed about the fact that like you don't think you have cool things going on for you.
Right.
You put yourself in a different circle and everyone's like, yo, you're actually pretty good at this thing that nobody else recognized you were good at, right?
And then you're like, oh, really? Me?
Yeah, exactly. And then
they're like, dude, like, yo, man, that's something really cool. And you're like, what? I had this my entire life, right? 100%.
That's exactly like, that's a good point. You just got to put yourself out there like that. What's your morning routine? Do you have a morning routine?
To be honest with you, and I think I'm in the early stages of this because, that question, I think...
You can be honest. I don't have a damn morning routine either, like if that's what you're getting at.
For me, my morning routine for the last, I say, 2 years, I've been doing cold showers.
Man, is that...
Have you heard about that?
Of course, yeah. It's like...
Yeah, like I've
can't...
been doing cold showers, and one, it's because it's really good for your health.
Yeah, of course.
And two, I think it's because you're putting yourself in a situation where you're not comfortable already.
Yep.
Right? So you're in the shower. First of all, it's
First thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning,
yep.
you're in the shower and you want to be in warm water, but you put yourself in cold water. So already you're telling your body, hey, piece of shit, get ready for uncomfortable situation.
Yep.
Right? And so then you do it. And then when you start the day, it's like, I'm ready for uncomfortable situations. Like, I'm ready to go talk to someone I don't want to talk to because I just did something that I fucking hate, right?
Yep.
So it's training your mind, right? And I think I've been doing that. It really prepares me. But I don't do the whole working out in the morning.
I can't do that.
I cannot do that. Eating breakfast, very rarely. But when I do, like, I don't eat breakfast before I leave home. But when I get to the office, I'll get something to eat because that's just something I need to function. A lot of people can function without breakfast or without eating in the morning. I don't know how they do it. That's different.
You just gotta do you. You just gotta do you gotta find your rhythm and then just go with that.
My morning routine is really much. It actually happens a lot in a car. Because I'm usually driving somewhere. So for a long period of time, I'm either driving to the office, driving to a client site, driving
It's like an hour commute, or just in general? Just driving?
It's usually like about 30, 45 minutes depending on where in the city I'm going. Because in our industry, like we're all over the place.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what it is. But I would say the highlight would be that shower, which kind of preps me.
Man, I gotta get on that, bro. I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah.
And I think that second point you made about what it does to you at a psychological level,
yes,
is like the main.
Because let me tell you something. So people would do this cold shower in the summer.
Yeah,
dude. That doesn't mean shit to me, right? Because
you're already
that
you
means,
want that shit.
Yeah, and it's not uncomfortable for you. It's actually refreshing because like it's hot.
Yeah,
you're having a cold shower, so they're losing the real meaning behind it, which is the psychological meaning, right? It's make yourself feel uncomfortable, right? Man. Like imagine having a hot shower in the summer. That's very irritating.
Well,
right?
would that
I don't
would that work?
No,
because that makes you uncomfortable.
I don't think that would work at all. Actually, yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna say, and it's good for your skin and all that.
It is.
Stuff.
It is. You open your pores. So a lot of people do the warm shower when they start, and then cold when they
cool
end.
it down.
Yeah,
I'm trying that, but I don't know, man. My morning routine is pretty ass right now.
Okay.
Like I wake up and what do I do? I have a good night routine. I have a good nighttime routine.
Really?
Yeah.
My night routine is horrible.
Okay, so I think that's where we kind of make up. Okay, cool. So like I always try to, make sure everything is like, I kind of have a little bit of OCD in that sense.
Okay.
Like I got to make sure everything's, right.
Okay.
And then I have to have particular lights on or lights off.
Interesting.
And then, I meditate sometimes. Like I try to do it every night.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to do it every night. So more so than the actual benefits of the routine, I think what you're really building
discipline
is exactly discipline. Because what you're doing is you're committing to something, and even if you don't feel like doing it, the fact that you know that you have to do it just for the sake of doing it because you committed to it.
Right.
You build that trait in you, right? I like that about it. So even if it's something that doesn't do anything, like okay, every time before I leave the house, I'm gonna put I'm gonna put my mug in this corner of the room. Like it doesn't actually do anything, right? But if it's something like just teaching your brain to commit to an action, you can use that because you're building pathways, right?
Right.
You're building that pattern in your life, and then you can apply that to anything where you need that level of commitment.
Right.
And I think that's why you're so good at what you do, is because you have these things that whether you know it intentionally or not, you have these things where you're committed to certain things, or you establish a discipline and a routine. I think that stuff is critical.
That's a really good point because for me that has to do with fitness. Yeah,
definitely. Right? Yeah, that's where that comes into.
So the thing is, for me, since I was very, very young, I've always told myself that I wouldn't put myself in a situation where I am not in shape, right? And the saying it is very easy. Like everyone can say it, right? The biggest problem I think now in our society is that people have these I guess you can say, cycles, right? Where they
Phases?
phases is the
Yeah.
right word. Where
Yeah.
like they go to the gym, they're active, they're fit, they get like really, in shape, and then they're like, I've done it for 4 months, let me relax for like 2 months. Right, so they pick up on eating habits, they pick up on getting lazy, and then they do the whole cycle again, right?
Yeah.
But doing that is, it's only harming yourself, right? Because that pattern that you're putting yourself on affects your body, right?
Right.
Because your body it gets used to a routine, and then you're changing the routine again.
Right.
So the way you use the washroom can affect yourself. The way that your mind works, your energy, like how you focus on work. It's going to change. Whereas for me, it's if I feel that there is a time in the week where I'm getting lazy, I'll literally push myself to the gym. I'll literally push myself to go run a lap around the neighborhood. Like, it's just a mental thing. It's like, you're letting go of yourself. Don't do this, right?
Right.
And it's like, it's a psychological thing, and it's a habit.
Right.
It's more like I've trained myself to already do it. And I don't think I'm ever gonna let go of it, because it's just it's something that I've trained myself since I was a child, right? And a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's just genetics, man. You got high metabolism, right? You
Yep.
eat shit all the time." No, it doesn't work like that.
Have you gone through a fat phase in your life?
Never.
What, really? I mean,
Yeah. When I was a little baby, I was a
of course.
chubby ass
Man, you
camel
lucky.
kid, right?
You're lucky.
Yeah.
You're genetics.
Yeah, see what I mean? See what I mean? But it's like, dude, I imagine, like, if I didn't do anything active for like 2 months, I think I would be going through that fat phase.
You'd be
100%.
skinny fat. There's a new epidemic of skinny fats.
fat, massive.
Yeah.
Like your hands and legs are like regular, but then you got a big tummy.
You got it. Yeah, you're not a big person, but
Yeah.
you got like a little bit of chub on you.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a skinny fat epidemic. Shout out to the skinny fat people
Yeah.
out there, man. Hey, man, you got to do your thing.
Fat, that's fucking jokes.
That's a dad bod.
That's so funny, dude.
Yo, you know what? Okay, I want to touch on the phase thing, because when you said that, it reminded me of when you're doing the whole consistency is a superpower,
Yes,
which I completely agree with. But okay, so here's my counter argument to the phase approach. I think going through phases is natural, depending on the action, like what's actually going on. So, for example, now if you're doing a gym routine and you know that you want to be consistent for a year, you actually have to plan your routine in such a way that you're not, because the number one reason why people fall out of something is because they burn themselves out. Or it's either burning themselves out or they get bored of it, just simply bored of whatever they're doing. So for the first thing, what you do to not burn yourself out is, if you know that this is going to be a long-term thing, you got to almost purposefully not go hard like 100%, right?
100%
Because you're going for a sprint,
100%
or you're going
agree.
for a marathon, not
Yeah.
a sprint.
Yeah.
Right. So like, you just jog. If you're going for 10 miles, just like, you're not gonna sprint. You just jog, right? There's no shame in that. So, and I think that's why most people fall out of things, right? Like, New Year's, January, they'll start like a new routine.
Everyone's at the gym. Yeah,
They're going hard. They're going like 110%, and then they
Right.
get tired. It's like, man, I can't keep this up for a whole year.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to keep it up for the whole year, because
Yeah.
you're going too hard. You're breaking your body down,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
And then the second point, people fall out of things because they get bored. The best way to get out of that, in my opinion, is you have to dial up that activity to a point where it's just challenging enough, but it's not too challenging.
Right.
So there's this thing that I read about called the flow state. Actually, look this up. This is actually, I want to make sure.
It's called the flow state.
It's called flow state. There's a graph. So,
oh my God, we're pulling up graphs.
yeah, we're pulling up graphs and.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah, that first one right there. No, the first one. Okay, so there's like, so if the activity that you're doing, so for the people that can't see this, the y-axis is, I think it's like difficulty of the activity.
Okay.
And then the x-axis is user capacity. Okay, user capability.
User capability.
So how like easily you can do that thing.
Okay.
So basically, if the activity is too hard,
Right.
then you're gonna start feeling anxiety.
Right.
You're not going to want to do it. It's too hard. I don't want to do it.
I don't want to fail.
I don't want to fail. If it's
Yeah.
too easy, then you're going to get bored of it. You're not going to do it.
So the flow zone.
The flow zone is this like area in the middle where it's like it's not too hard, but it's just hard enough that you feel stimulated. You're like, oh, I wanna get better at this thing. Like,
Okay, that's cool.
you know what I mean? So like the goal in life, I think, is to try to be in the flow zone as much as you can.
See, you know where this can go wrong?
Where?
When if you're doing a task in the flow zone and someone else is doing the same task better than you, you sometimes may tend to go to the anxiety zone. So
Like
the
if-
comparison between you and someone else can fuck you over.
Yeah. So
You know?
don't compare yourself to people. That's
exactly.
like, yeah.
So that's a good point. Never, and that's something that I've been telling a lot of people that I spoke to, is just about not comparing yourself to the people around you.
Yeah.
Moreover, comparing yourself to the future you.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I think that's vital.
You gotta know that what you're doing is gonna make you better than what you were before yesterday.
Exactly.
Every day you gotta be doing something where you're gonna be better than you were yesterday.
100%. I agree. Yeah.
And even if it's not on a daily basis, like you can do that on a weekly basis too.
Of course.
Do you plan on a daily basis or a weekly basis or monthly or
You
a
know
little bit
what,
of
man?
everything?
I've recently picked up on this thing where I look at what I've accomplished for the day.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like see, this is my theory. I'm not
Yeah.
sure
How do you like do your goals? Like how do you break it down?
I'm
How
not
do you-
sure if it works for everybody.
Yeah.
But see, this is the way I've learned to function. Right. So some people at the end of the month will look at what they've accomplished.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what did I do this month? Like if they've done 2 things that were like vital and like significant in either their career, their life, their relationship, whatever, they're like, okay, good, check mark.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is at the end of the day, I look at what did I accomplish end of the day. By the end of the day, in the 24 hours that I've been, not 24 hours, but whatever time I've been awake, what have I done, right? If I've done at least one thing that is significantly going to improve my future, I'm successful. But if I go throughout the entire day and I look back and say, shit, I didn't do jack shit today, right? Besides get a haircut. Right, like I'm trying to do it by day now, which is sometimes it might be stressful to certain people.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
right. So that's why I said it might not work for everybody.
Yeah.
But myself, I think I've trained myself now to be able to withstand being disappointed at the end of the day if I haven't.
Yeah.
And if I haven't, it's like go harder the next day. So that's how I set my goals. It's by day.
Right. I don't know if you do this, but I do, like something I do is I narrowed down my desires, not my desires, but like I have like not expectations, but it's almost like there's like pillars of principles, like values.
Okay.
And I got it, like for me personally, I got it down to like 4 main pillars, which is, so what I try to do is every day I try to do something that at least accomplishes at least one of these pillars. So
got it.
So I have like 4, which is like music or like my like content, my art, health, like knowledge in general, and like I think the last one was like
family or friends.
No, okay, so that's like
So you don't give a shit about them.
I'm a weirdo, man.
Yeah.
I don't. That might be 5th, but like okay, and I don't know. I'm like a weirdo like that.
Yeah,
but
weird people are cool though.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, if one day goes by and it's like, if I didn't do anything except go to work out like for an hour after I came back from work, then I'm like, all right, you know what? At least I did something that, benefits my health in a way. Or if I like...
But see, I'm going to jump in there.
Yeah, do that.
So that's cool. I like that. But I feel like when someone trains their mind to think a workout has benefited them in the day or has contributed to something, I think that they're setting low expectations for themselves.
Okay, I feel that.
Whereas working out should be a standard.
I feel that, for sure.
Working out should be a standard.
But it's not for most people. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
So the idea is don't be most people. right?
Yeah.
And like, and the thing is, I think you have to get past that hump where these small little things shouldn't be a significant
Like a win.
exactly right. The second you make something small a significant win, you're gonna get by your life thinking, at least I did this, at least I did that, at least I did this. But then you look back for someone else, you know, maybe me, when I'm looking, I'm saying, dude,
You didn't do shit. You didn't do anything.
Come on, man, you have way more potential, right?
Yep.
Like you're jumping over little rocks on a fucking in a river where you should be jumping over a mountain. Right. So that mindset, I think it's something that you know, it may be different for everybody.
It depends. Yeah, you got to be. Yeah, I feel that, and I think it can only work if you have like a grand big picture perspective. So you know, like, okay, fine, maybe in the day I only did that one thing, but you know, my big picture is like by the end of the month I want to like have all of this accomplished.
Yeah.
And like, man, that's the other thing too, like going back to the point of like surrounding yourself with people that recognize that, bro, your potential is like a lot more. You could be doing a lot more with your time. Man, you know how critical that is. You got to surround yourself with people. You know how they say like you are the average of like the 5 people that you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
So your standards are based on that average of like 100%. Who you surround yourself with, right?
100% agree. Yeah.
So if like randomly this new guy came into your circle and like, you know, you start chilling or he starts chilling with you guys, and then it's like, oh, this is what you're doing all day? Like you guys are just like hanging out and not doing anything, and he's like some go-getter or whatever, then that kind of puts pressure on you to, for sure. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you have to try to, oh, okay, that's what other people are doing with their time. Like maybe I should think about or rethink about how I mean, we all have 24 hours, right? Like you got to figure out how you're going to slice and dice that day.
Right.
And then what you're going to do.
Right.
But that's my issue. Like, or one of the things is like, sometimes I might not do anything one day and I'll do like 4 things the next day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like, I guess it depends on your mood too, which you gotta, I don't know how that plays into it.
You know,
right?
I think the whole, your network is very important. Your circle is very important. I think that personally, you know, at this time in my life, it's, you know, really moving from circles is important, right? Cutting people out is a very hard subject, right? Because you may have grown up with these people. They may have been a very vital point in the reason the person you are today, right? But are they going to play a part in the person you are in the future?
Yeah, for sure.
That's where the trick is, right? Yeah, you have those 5 buddies that you've been growing up your entire life, and you know they've played certain parts into who you are today, right?
They made you who you are up until that point.
Yeah. But the question is, do they have what it takes to push you over?
Yeah.
Most probably not, because you have to have a different mindset. Right?
You guys all have to evolve together if that's the case.
Exactly.
And that's usually not the case.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
Right? That's very hard. People are different paths, different energy levels. And what you have to do is now circulate yourself around people that are already ahead of you. So that's been my goal. Yeah. And in the last 3-4 years, I think I've purposely tried to be around people that are 10 steps ahead of me. Right? And it's sometimes hard to do that because there's a major age gap. There might be a major age gap.
It's hard for you to relate to them.
Exactly, right? And or, you know, they may have things that you don't have. They may, you know...
Because what's their incentive to chill with you? Like, what's their incentive to...
100%.
You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you one thing that I've found out, right? Their incentive to be
spend
around
time
your
with you,
to be around your energy is merely one of 2 things, right? One thing is they want to invest in you.
Right.
Yeah. They see, okay, this young blood has massive potential. He or she is very green and has a lot of potential. And the reason that this person wants to be around us just goes to the fact to show that there's something here with this person. So the millionaires and the billionaires of the world, right? They look for these people. They look for those individuals that want to associate themselves around these millionaires and billionaires, right? So that investment goes a long way. The second thing is they want to shed some light, but not too much light, right? There's two different groups. That one group is the one group that wants to invest and grow you. The other group is shed some light, but they're afraid you might become bigger than them.
Fuck those guys.
So how
Exactly.
how do you manage that? Because sometimes the way you behave
Mm-hmm.
can impact those relationships, right? If you become too needy,
Right.
or like bring to light maybe that you have nothing to offer in a sense. Like, how do you manage that?
Because you got to show them that you have value, right?
Exactly,
Is that, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I think it goes both ways, and I think they have to also realize what value you bring to them and what value they're bringing to you, right? It has to go hand in hand, right? And if they're bringing all the value to you, you're not giving anything back, even as a junior or as a green person, you need to have something that you're giving them.
yeah, of course.
You need to have something. There's something inside of you that you're giving to them. Like, for example, myself dealing with people that are, way ahead of the game, leading massive corporations and organizations, right? What's a kid like me going to give to them, right? I think the biggest thing that I can provide is that my knowledge on our generation, right?
Right.
How much research I've done,
Yeah.
the people I'm around, and how much I can educate those guys that are way up there about who we are, right? What we expect, what our needs are, what we lack, what our weaknesses are, right? Sometimes they want to bend down and hear like what's going on down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think voicing our generation is important, especially on my behalf, and letting the big dogs know that there's a massive group of tadpoles that want to come out and be like massive whales, right?
Yeah.
We just need that little crack to go into that big ocean, right? We're stuck in a little pond right now.
Right.
So it's like, let's bridge that together.
Do you ever get what's the term called? I think it's called like phantom syndrome or something. Can you look that up? It's
Phantom
like
syndrome.
it's when you feel like you don't belong in a imposter syndrome. Yeah. Search up imposter syndrome. What's the definition of that?
That's cool. I haven't heard of that.
It's like when you feel like, hang on, let's see what it's.
Imposter syndrome.
A psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being. No, okay, that's not what I was getting at, but it's like basically.
I kind of see where that's going, though. It kind of makes sense.
It's like if you're in a room with these CEOs and like execs, and you're just this young like a young 23, 24-year-old that like barely, you're just out the womb pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, do you ever feel like that when you're in like a meeting or a situation where like you're surrounded by all these like accomplished people, and then you almost feel like, oh shit, am I actually supposed to be here? Like,
yeah.
Or are you like that confident that
No, you know what? I think that's very important.
Go to like a different definition. Go to dictionary.com.
I think I'm going to answer that question, right?
Yeah.
There's a quote that I think it's very popular. A lot of people know about it. You're in these kind of situations, you're either at the table or on the menu.
That's dope. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
You know what I mean? I put this up on Instagram at some point.
That was a dope bar, yeah.
Right? I want to go deep into that, right?
Yeah, break it down, man.
Being at the table or on the menu may sound bad as fuck, but there's a deep meaning behind it, right? And I think it means that if you are willing to be in a situation or in a room, let's per se, with CEOs, top influencers, very high level individuals, you have to bring something to the table. You can't just be there. Like, hey, I just got a free ticket to stand around.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like the fact that you're there means that there's something that somebody recognized in you.
You've got yourself in this room.
You got a seat.
Right? You've got a seat, meaning there's something about you that either someone saw or believe in you, right? So, in those situations, you kind of have to sit back and be like, hold on. There's all these, successful people. What am I bringing into this room?
Why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here,
Yeah.
right? And that's where you need to tap into yourself. And that's what should give you that confidence so you don't have this feeling that we're talking about. Because if you have that feeling, you're doubting yourself.
Yep.
Right? And I think it's like it goes inverse too, right? You shouldn't have that feeling to begin with.
Well, it's like it's whenever you find yourself in a situation. Well, I feel like this would happen a lot if you're on that climb.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to be in situations where, like, you know, because every time you level up, you're always going to be fresh to a new level, right?
Right.
And, you know, you're going to be at that level for a while. But when you first get to that level, you're going to feel kind of like a noob. Like, you're not going to know why you're there, or like, it's weird. The way that I feel like the ladder works is it's not very gradual.
Yeah.
It's very segmented, right? So
Right.
like you're in a certain position, for example, for X number of years or months, and then you jump into the next position. And unless it's built in a very good way, like the structure is built very nicely where it's a smooth transition, then it's fine. But in most cases, I find it's almost like, and especially if you're a real like motivated hustler kind of guy, like you'll like skip grades, or like in like metaphorically speaking, right?
Yeah.
And actually that's a good analogy. Like let's say you skip a grade, you're in a classroom with like all these older kids.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, you skip that grade because the teachers saw that you're good enough to do it. But at the same time, like you deep down, you're like, oh, do I fit in
this
here?
Is what it
like
is. It's how you carry yourself.
No, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Okay, the biggest issue that I face personally, it's not really an issue, but I think it's very common now to a point where I've realized it. I'm usually the youngest guy in the room. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's the age factor.
That's
right?
huge, yeah.
And sometimes they don't even notice because of the way maybe I carry myself, right? If you carry yourself in a way where you may be, you are younger, you don't know as much. Maybe the way you dress, gives off a vibe that. Check.
All right, apologies to for that little interruption. We had some
Sunshine
technical difficulties, but yeah, where did we leave off?
Carrying yourself.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So I think that's cool.
Oh, yeah. So we were talking about imposter syndrome, and then the key is to carry yourself in a way where everyone around you
does not question your capabilities.
Yeah.
Along with yourself.
Along with yourself.
You have to believe
I think you start with yourself.
Yeah.
You got to look at yourself and be like, listen, I'm in this room because they need me. I don't need them.
That's easy
Biggest
to
key to sales.
Yeah.
How do you like?
You need me. I don't need you, even though I do. Like, it's the way you have to come off.
You can't come off needy.
Exactly. But most of my, when I used to cold call the shit out of people, right? And I think, first of all, I think cold call is never going to die, even though any articles say otherwise. Cold calling is the root of sales, and it is always going to be there. But because we're talking about cold calling, I think 70% of my calls near the end of the time where I was doing sales calls, I am convincing this client or the prospect that they need what I have to offer.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's not more like, here's my product. So for all the salespeople, okay, this is one thing that I think you need to really take in. Stop selling the product and its features and benefits. Start selling why they need it. Right? Like if you pick up this iPhone and you say, look, okay, I got this crazy processor, we got this 40 megapixel camera, we got this, they right?
don't care about that.
And then they're like, okay, cool. But it's kind of like, you got to do the listening first. You got to understand what they're using it for, which is key sales, right? You always listen. But you need to tell them why they need it in their pocket. Right? Why you need it in your pocket. This recent customer service experience I went through, I want to share it with you guys very quickly, is I'm really into custom suits, right? I'm really into custom suits, and
that's the only way to do it. You got to do it like that.
Dude, I'm really into it, and it is expensive, but I think it's worth it.
I think it's worth it too.
Every man should have a custom suit and a really good cologne, because you can. It's like kind of like buying your first impression.
Yep.
Okay, but I think that why was I on this topic? Oh yeah, customer service experience. So when I walked into this place, first of all, it's very bougie spot, right? This place has shout outs King and Bay, my King and Bay. You guys hit them up. They're great. But you walk into this place, and first of all, you're served drinks. I'm talking like Manhattans, old-fashioned bourbons. I'm talking nice, expensive drinks on the house, right? And it's very welcoming. But the best thing that they do is for an hour or 2 hours, they have a conversation like this. Okay?
Really? Okay.
It has nothing to do with the suit. Absolutely nothing. Like not even once they talk about the suit. It's more like, who are you? What do you do? How important is dressing to you? Cool. Who's your marketing audience? Who's your target audience? Who do you deal with on the day to day? Okay, cool. When you go home and you open up your closet, what do you see? Conversations like that, right?
Right.
They figure out who you are as a person in the time span that they have, right? And then it's kind of like, you need this suit on you.
Because of all that, yeah.
Because of this.
Yeah.
If you don't take it, you're a dumbass, right? And it's then it makes you kind of think like, oh shit, maybe I do.
Maybe I do need it.
Yeah, because you just spent like 2 hours talking about me, and I just told you who I am in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you know some sort of thing about me at this point, and you're telling me that I need it. Like, this is something I need. So you need to somehow influence or explain to the end user, who's your prospect, you need this. You need me. You need me in your life.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have me in the next 30 minutes, you're a goner. Like, you're missing out here, right? Have you guys watched Wolf of Wall Street?
No, I've seen clips of it though.
The amount, it's kind of like over exaggerated.
But
to
it's
be
like
honest.
that, man. That's
but
like
he sells penny stocks to someone that makes them believe that this is gonna change their life, and there's a borderline between like, fraud, which you don't want to do. You don't want to believe. You don't want to make someone believe they want something they don't really need it.
Regret.
Yeah, if they don't really need it, don't sell it to them.
I was gonna say that. Like, do you pull back on those ops?
Always. Always. I never see. This is another rule. Never sell to someone that doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be residual revenue. It's not going to come back
churn-
because
yeah,
in
they're-
about a couple of weeks they're going to realize that they don't want it.
It's gonna
They'll be
build a bad name
This guy
for
screwed
you.
me over.
Yeah.
Then they go up on Google and they write you a review.
Yep.
Your name gets ruined. It's not worth it.
It's not, yeah.
Right? Sell to someone that really needs it and build off of that.
A really good concept about that in meditation is don't be attached to the outcome.
Mm.
Because a lot of times in sales,
Do it for the process.
Can I
exactly.
just quickly add on to that? What you're talking about right now, understanding your prospect, you're talking about the pain point, right? Locating their pain point.
Yes.
And then using that
Yes.
to drive your sales.
100%. You have to listen. You have to listen,
Yeah.
right? And if they are not into taking pictures, don't sell them something like that's involved with pictures. Like, sell the phone not based off the megapixel of the camera. Sell it on the basic features that it can use. Like, you could write notes if it's for work. It's like basic sales tactics. It's simple sales tactic, but you kind of have to go above and beyond to really figure out if this is needed in their life.
How did you learn these things? Like, how did you pick up on these nuances of the sale? Like, how did you like? Because I feel like this is the kind of thing that you can't just. I mean, you could be taught the theory of it, or like you can be taught like practical things, but you have to actually go through it, right? I feel like you got to actually go through something like that.
I think
in order to start getting good at it.
The salesperson has been there's a stigma around it.
Of course, yeah.
And I hate the stigma, right?
What is the stigma?
The stigma is that salespeople are pushy.
Mm-hmm. They're sleazy. Yep.
They try to brainwash you, and they're
telemarketers.
Yeah, like they're just fucking tell you. Oh, is it a sales guy on the phone? We don't want no.
Duck cleaning.
Yeah, no, it's not like that anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like the vision is to turn this. Yeah, you said ducking. It's fucking jokes. The vision is you turn this salesperson theory into being genuine.
Yeah.
You need to be genuine, man.
Just be a damn human.
You just have to be genuine. And when you're genuine, people understand you, they feel you, they believe you, they trust you. And like, when you're genuine, sometimes you don't even need to sell. They will buy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, have you ever heard of these situations where sometimes you're talking to someone as a salesperson, you're talking to a prospect or a client for so long, and like the conversation is so genuine where at the end they're kind of like, okay, give it to me. Whatever you got, give it to me. Here's my card. You're like, just give it to me because like I love you. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
because you got to be good. Like,
you gotta be good,
yeah.
and it's not even good or bad. It's you have to relate. You have to find a common ground between you and the person, and just be genuine from the bottom of your heart, right?
Right.
And I think the turning point is when salespeople lie, and we were talking about it before, and they just want to push out the product, and
But you know why though, right? Like I feel like a lot of it has to do with. It's like my understanding of it is that it's very metric oriented. You know what I mean? Like
the KPIs, the targets, the goals, right? It
So it's
pressures
like-
someone into doing it.
Exactly. It's like,
Now,
man,
the
I got to
question-
hit these numbers.
The question is, are you selling something you believe in?
Well, that's the thing. Like if
If you're selling something that you believe in from the bottom
you
of
should
your
be
heart,
able to hit your numbers regardless.
the numbers are not even like on your radar.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When I first started doing what I do, we're in the recruitment business, and you have to convince clients to use your agency to recruit for their company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we had to hit 10 meetings a month, right? You got to hit 10 meetings a month. And if you don't hit it, then you don't hit your KPI, and you don't get your commissions, right? And my thing was like, fuck the 10 meetings. Like, I don't even care about the 10 meetings. Like, I just want to genuinely have a real conversation with this company and let them know that we're the best in the game. Like, if you don't have us on your side, you're losing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
fourth quarter, you are losing. People are going to get up from the stands and walk away, right? You need me. You need us. We're going to make you look good. And I wouldn't be wasting my time on the phone with you, Mary.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why am I wasting 40 minutes of my time trying to convince you when I could be calling someone else? Because I genuinely think you need us, right? And what's
It's
going to
true,
happen
yeah.
is when you believe in something so much, they can hear it in your voice.
Yep. 100%.
They can
Yeah.
hear it in your. They're sitting there like, holy shit! Like, this guy believes it to the bone, right?
Yep.
So you know what? I'm gonna give him a shot. Like, fine. Like, you look at the way you're selling it, dude. But if you don't believe in it and you're only focused on hitting your target and your KPI, that means you're not doing it for the sole purpose of creating that connection. You're doing it to
Right.
hit your commissions.
Right.
Fuck commissions.
Yep.
Don't even look at money.
Yep.
When salespeople focus on commissions, they lose.
Yep.
When you're a real estate agent and you're selling a house just to cut that check at the end of the agreement, you're a lousy salesperson. Purchase that house for that couple or that new family or that new immigrant and make a change in their life. And then when that check comes in, it's like, oh shit, I get paid for this?
Yep.
You know?
It's the side. It's the side.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
The side effect.
Yeah, it's a side effect. Make money making a side effect.
Damn, that's a full circle right there, isn't it? If because that's what we started off with.
Yeah. We started.
I
off
feel like,
talking
bro.
about
I feel
that.
like if you just pulled something out of your pocket right now, I'd buy it off you. Just like from the energy.
I appreciate that, man.
The last that was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think we're at the hour now
Okay. Cool.
or
See,
something like that.
went by so fast, man.
So we'll just wrap it up right there. Do you want to say anything just to kind of wrap things up?
You know what, man? First of all, I appreciate Keith's Corner. I appreciate all, taking the time out to even have a conversation with me. It's a privilege. But one thing I want to say is to whoever's going to watch this video, whether you're in sales or whether you're in business, it starts off by, first of all, as corny as this sounds, okay, and I don't say a lot of corny things, but you have to believe in yourself. Okay? Believe in yourself to the bone, right? Like, I don't care what you wear, how you look, how you smell. I don't give a shit, right? You have to believe in yourself. And then once you fully believed in yourself and you fully came into that state of mind, then you need to believe in what you're selling. And whether it's a service or a product or, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you are fully invested. And the term I like to use is you have to buy in. And when I mean buy in, you have to give it everything you got. If you're sitting at the poker table, you got to go all in. Don't go half-assed. Don't go 30%. Don't be like, hey, I'm selling this right now, but I like, there's probably something else on the other. If you're in that situation, pull yourself out and
if you're not gonna go all in, don't sit at that table.
Don't sit at that table because you're only putting other people in a position where they're in a risky situation, and you're putting the people that believe in you in a risky situation, because a lot of people believe in you, right? And as much as you think you have nobody, there are people watching, there are people that's using your motivation, and the second you put yourself in a situation like that, you're affecting, there's like a domino effect that happens behind you, right? So believe in yourself, believe in your business, believe in your product or service, whatever it is, and just give it your 110%. And if you're in a situation where it's anything less, pull yourself out.
No shame in pulling yourself out and just doing it somewhere
100%,
else.
100%.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
it, man.
Thanks, Keith.
Hey.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.